Good evening, future Eagles. I am so happy that you joined us today. We are going to be discussing whether or not you have decided to choose a major or not, you can still apply. We're going to be discussing how undecided majors are nurtured throughout their academic journey at the great Coppin State University. And today we have Miss Sandy Green. I was about to say Dr. Sandy Green, soon to be Dr. Sandy Green, and Dr. Seth Forrest. And they will be discussing how they help students navigate through the journey of selecting a major in college. So how are you guys today?
Great.
I'm doing well. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
COVID got us all messed up.
Awesome. It does. It does have us all messed up. So, Ms. Green.
Yes.
What department do you work in?
I am the director of first year experience at Coppin
And what is the
State.
first year experience program?
The first year experience program is that first year that a student comes into from the moment the student comes into the university through their first year. We guide the student through those first 2 semesters and make sure that they're prepared as they enter into their second year. And when I say prepared it is my desire that by that time all students have declared a major and are ready to go into those major courses because at the beginning students are taking a few of their general education requirement courses, and then it is the desire that by that second semester they're ready to go into their major. So we follow them through that. COVID kind of restricted us a little bit, but before COVID we will hold events on campus that would cause and see where we are. We would hold seminars and workshops just so students can get acclimated to the university and the processes thereof.
Awesome. And Dr. Forrest, what department are you in charge of?
Hi, I am the chairperson of the Academic Department of Humanities. So we have 4 major programs in dance, English, history, and urban arts. And then we have a lot of general education courses. So if you come in and you don't have a major that you've decided on yet, you'll see us in class no matter what. Anyway, we do the writing courses that you take in your first year, and then literature, arts, philosophy, foreign language. What am I leaving out? History.
All of your general education requirements. Yes, speech.
A lot, yeah.
And so, if a student, okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm the student and I am interested in coming to college. I know I want to go to college. I just don't know what major to select. And as I'm entering my application, submitting my application, I select undecided. First of all, how do you know how to contact me? Are you giving information on undecided majors?
So, Miss Dr. Forrest, that was you, or okay, go ahead.
I could answer that.
Yes.
At least from my perspective. So the university sort of categorizes undecided students. Even if you haven't chosen a category, we've identified you as a categorizable person when you're at the school, just because we want to be able to sort of get in touch with you, shepherd you along the way a little bit. And so you technically will join the College of Arts and Sciences and Education, and we will somewhat keep tabs on, making sure that you're getting advised, making sure that you're progressing through the general education program, things like that. I will pretty regularly check on undecided students, especially those ones that are doing really well in their English and history, maybe speech classes. If there's an undecided student who's taken a couple of dance classes, I might check that list and shoot you an email and try to recruit you into one of the programs in my area.
Go English, go English. I was an English major.
So, I kind of look at it a little differently, because when we get the students, we their first stop is in our department, and we kind of immediately see, that first question is, so what do you want to major in? And they'll go, I don't know. And that's when we open up for a conversation. And it's not so much of a checks and balances. It's a real life conversation. We're sitting and we're talking. So what are the things that you enjoyed when you were as you grew up? What are the things you enjoyed doing? And sometimes those conversations actually surprise the student. I have a few students that say, "Oh, I want to be a nurse," and I go, "Well, why do you want to be a nurse?" "Oh, I want to help people." I said, "Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you like math? And how are you with science?" And I go into some of those courses, and not that you can't do it, but let's just take another look at what the process is going to be as you get to that nursing degree. And oftentimes, they kind of, not to discourage them from nursing, but I often show curriculum to students to give them an idea of what to expect. And often, like, especially for nursing, I kind of let them know there's a couple of courses that you get only 2 chances to pass, and some courses are called the make or break courses, that if you can't get through them, and we kind of have those kind of. And then there are other students that, you can listen to what they say and kind of get an idea. And Dr. Forrest, oftentimes I hear students say that they want to do criminal justice because they want to be a lawyer. And I'm like, they really don't get it. Like, they say, "Oh, criminal justice, and I want to be a lawyer," but that's not the best route to be. That's not the route to be a lawyer. I kind of lead them toward Dr. Forrest area. Like, you're going to have a lot of writing to do, and a lot of reading. So I lean them more toward that English to be able. You do an English degree, you're more likely to succeed at law to be a lawyer than taking
Right.
criminal justice, right? So,
There's a lot more to lawyering than what you see on
or law and
TV
order.
procedurals. Yeah. Um,
Exactly. And criminal minds.
the feel of the law. Criminal law is that tiny little pie piece,
Exactly.
but
Exactly. Yes.
the
And
reading and the writing and
ex-
the learning how to analyze dry
logic.
sometimes
Yes.
we can
So
teach you.
they're
Yeah.
surprised. They're actually surprised when we have those conversations when they first walk into the door. You know, um, sometimes a student is pre-med. I want to be a doctor. Okay, so we have those conversations of the best route to take that to be the doctor. Of course, that would be going to your sciences. So those are those heart-to-heart conversations we have when they first come in. I actually enjoy the undecided student because it gives us an opportunity to connect more than the student that comes in. Yes, I know what I want to do. I have it up here. I'm going to do it. We don't get a chance to talk to them as much. So I kind of like when a student comes in and is undecided.
I share that perspective. I think that when I came into college, I'm like a lot of our students in some ways. I'm the first kid in my family to go to college for generations, and my parents and my grandparents, they knew nothing from college except college football down south, and so when I got in, I had no idea. I really had no idea. And finally, it took the girl who would eventually become my wife to say, "All you ever do is sit outside office hours waiting for professors to show up so that you can talk to them for the rest of the afternoon. You really should be a professor." And I thought, I didn't even know. I didn't even think that, a kid whose grandparents were sharecroppers in rural South Carolina could do that. And, undecided, sometimes it just takes that light bulb to
Right.
go off, it's kind of a
Right.
special time.
And just because you decide when you first come in does not mean that's what you're going to stick with. Me personally, when I started college many, many, many years ago, I've changed. I'm so far left from what I originally started. It was like, and it is amazing how your life situations will change your perspective on what you actually really want. I never would have thought I would be sitting behind a desk at a university teaching courses. I despise school. Listen, I never would have thought that this would be my destination. But after interacting with faculty and staff and as an undergraduate here at Coppin is where I got my first undergraduate, and just being able to connect and talk and experience, I'm like, okay. So I changed like 3 or 4 times until I finally said, okay, let's stop here. And it worked. We've lost Miss Janelle Harris.
What do you think she's trying to say?
I don't know. I don't know. I think she might have been giving out a few scholarships. I don't know. Maybe we missed it. What do you think? I don't know. But yeah, so while we're waiting, how are things in humanities?
Good. I was going to say, just to jump on with you about talking with undecided students. I teach a lot of those English courses that students will take in the first semester or the second semester. And that's something that I really enjoy, is to be able to sort of watch those folks who are kind of wandering a little bit. And in some ways, college is the time. It's the time to do a bit of wandering. I think that in some ways the community colleges really encourage that in a way that we at a four-year institution kind of like it when students will come in saying, nope, chemistry, criminal justice, social studies. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to graduate in 4 years. I'm going to be out there doing it. Hey, I took 5.5 years. And I'm as happy as I could be with what I do in my life,
Right. Yes. And it is rewarding. And what's important, that I could vouch for our great, the Coppin State University, that we're unlike any other institution or any other place of higher learning, that we give that opportunity for students to sit and talk it out. We're not just sliding a piece of paper across the table. When they say, I want to do criminal justice, well, why? I want to be a nurse. Well, why? If you can answer that second question, then it'll kind of give a better idea. But sometimes they say, I don't know. My aunt was a nurse. My mother was a nurse. But is that your desire? Is that what you think? I want to make a lot of money. Oh, we hear that one a lot. I want to make a lot of money. Sometimes, I try to encourage them that sometimes it's not, because you can make a whole lot of money and still be miserable. So I kind of try to get them, to think a little differently. Money is good and we like money, but if you're miserable, it doesn't bring you joy.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome.
We just, talk show hosts, we just carried it on a little bit.
Well, actually, you covered what I was going to ask. I know a lot of students that I encounter with recruiting, they may choose a major based off of what their parents want to do, and not what they want to do. And I try to, discourage them from doing that. And if it's becoming undecided until you do decide what you want to do and not what your parents want to do, you should go ahead and do that. And we have staff on campus that will help nurture you and guide you through that process. And I know that there have been some fairs on campus, like kind of like a college fair, but just within the to kind of go over some majors. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I was just looking at pictures that I had a major exploration fair. And what we did was, for all undecided students, we, reserved some space. And this is pre-COVID. We reserved spaces. We invited all of the majors to come, because this is a time you want to come, because the more students you have in your major, the more likely your major is to stay. No students, no major. So it was an opportunity for those colleges to come out and showcase their majors. And and I was just looking at the pictures, like reminiscent of pre-COVID, like, wow, we used to do things like this. But it was good because students, not only Coppin students, but we had the neighboring high school seniors come. And they came because those are the ones that are coming into the university, and they were able to gather a lot of information because the college presented what we have to offer. And not only did they present that, because the next question the student wants to know is, well, what kind of job can I get with this degree? And they were able to tell them that. And then the next question, of course, is how much money I'm going to make. And then they were able to give the statistics of what that job would normally, bring in. So it was a good event, and considering the fact that we were able to invite the high schools on it as well as our own undecided students, it really turned out well, and it was well attended. My only regret is that it's not something that we do constantly, and of course now COVID has prevented us to be able to gather in that arena.
Maybe we need to restructure it into
Maybe we
a
should.
virtual session. We can
Maybe
get
we
together and do
should.
that.
Okay.
That's another committee you can join.
See, Dr. Forrest, see how easy other duties as assigned, but okay.
So, Dr. Forrest, I get a lot of questions about the general education requirements and why they are necessary. And I know as a humanities major that they are important in your future career paths and goals. And a lot of times these lessons that I learned, they come back up. I never, ever thought that I would be an admissions counselor. Never. And I knew that once I started doing it, I'm kind of an introvert, even though people don't believe that. But I knew that my major helped prepare me for this job, especially the speech courses. And at the time, that was like a no-go. Like, I didn't want to do speech. I didn't want to get up on the stage. And it has helped me so much in my career and throughout my collegiate career. So can you explain the importance of taking the general education requirements, especially those humanities courses?
So it used to be hundreds of years ago that was a university, the things that you take, the liberal arts, and that includes the lab sciences and the math class that you really don't want to take, but you need to take to get through general ed. It includes some English, some history, maybe philosophy. You have a little bit of choice in there, an econ class. These are the things that it takes to be a well-rounded individual in the society that we live in the 21st century. The term gets thrown around a lot. I kind of hate it. Soft skills. Soft skills, being able to speak effectively at work or in public, being able to write well, being able to read something and critique it in this day of fake news and outright lies being told on Twitter feeds and difficulties in figuring out COVID death rates and whether we should wear a mask. We are asked to employ those. They're called soft skills because they're a little bit hard to measure with numbers and units of measurement, but they are not soft. They are not easy to acquire, and that's really what we're doing in the general education program. We're offering you the full slate of things that it takes to be a higher educated individual in the 21st century.
And I know I speak to students a lot, and some students may say, well, I want to be a nursing student. Why do I have to take these courses? Why do I have to take an English course? And I tell them, what if you are a nurse and you need to research? These are skills that you learn in the liberal arts that could help you even in your science courses, even in your, career path as a nurse. So it's important that you take these credits in order to prepare you for that. You were about to say
in medicine, in policing, all of these kinds of professions deal primarily with gathering information from the people that they serve by way of stories. You know, an English class teaches you, if nothing else, how to read and understand a story. And from your local mechanic to the lawyer who's going to work for you, you know, understanding stories, being able to pull out the relevant details, you know, how to judge an unreliable narrator. These things need to be part of your daily toolkit.
Exactly.
I think I learned that in logic, didn't I?
Exactly.
How to tell if someone was saying if it was facts or
Mhm.
like, that that doesn't follow. Something is wrong there. Yeah. So they prepare you also for your major courses. They're like that stepping stone that leads you up to the major courses, because once you get into those higher level courses, then you get into those papers that have to be written. And if you bypass English 1 and English 2, you don't have the necessary tools, like Dr. Forrest said, to be able to succeed in those other courses.
Right. Absolutely. If a student is an undecided major coming in, how long can they stay an undecided major before they actually have to declare a major?
The jury is still out on that, but
Well, typically, how
they're
long?
not really. So, like Dr. Forrest said, all undecided students will go into the arts and sciences and education. So it is, I guess, Dr. Forrest, if you would agree, that by the end of their first year, if we have done our job, let's just say that, let's put it back on us. If we have effectively done our job, that student should have a good idea on what they would like to do or consider. And by that first semester of the year, will be ready to take, if it's criminal justice, let me take intro to criminal justice. Let me kind of see. And if it doesn't work, there are some courses, I think, excluding nursing, that have free electives that if it didn't work, it's not that I've lost anything, because I could throw that in my free elective. And, if there's something else that I might want to consider. But if a student has gotten to the second year and is still not sure, I don't believe we as a university has done all we could to assist that student.
So, are you saying that we strive not to get to that point?
We strive, it is our desire that by the first semester of the second year, the student has officially declared a major. So then the other issue is, has the student met the requirements to declare such major?
Yeah.
So, some of our majors have requirements that accomplish, maybe,
Complete.
say it again,
Successfully complete.
successfully complete before they will be able to officially declare that major.
Right. And so, Dr. Forrest, what do you think about that? The length of time. Did we lose you? Okay. What do you think about the length of time, Dr. Forrest? Do you agree with Ms. Green?
Yeah, I think that so for Coppin State, again, to go back to general education, these are the classes that everybody, you know, whether you're nursing or dance, you've got to take the general education requirements. You've got to get your foundation. There are 40 credits worth of classes in the general education program at Coppin, plus one more credit for first year seminar if you're not transferring in. Maybe sometimes plus a technology course. So that's about 44 credits. We really, in order for you to maximize your money, and Coppin is the place to maximize your money. You get private school style education here for public school money. but you don't want to waste it. And if you haven't made a decision on that at the end of your third semester, ideally by the end of your third semester, you will have taken about 45 credits, and you need to start having those classes contribute to your major. So yeah, I would say you've really got to come to some kind of decision by the end of that third semester.
And if a student is undecided, does that mean that they're going to have to stay in school longer than any other student?
It kind of depends. In some of the accredited programs that are really professionally accredited, like education or nursing or social work, those are the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. They have a tight curriculum, and there are classes that, the state of Maryland or the national accrediting organization says these have to be taken or this person is not going to be a teacher. So in some of those majors, you really have to keep to the schedule. If you're an English major, hey, we love the Wanderer. So we've built in some flexibility into that curriculum. You could probably take a few random classes and stack those up in your program electives and be okay.
And
So if you
sometimes,
changed your major, if you went history and then you took 3 or 4 history classes that were upper level, we can probably make use of those in the English major somewhere. Likewise, if you took some poli-sci classes and you decided it wasn't for you and you wanted to switch to something else, some of those social sciences are a little more flexible too. Once you get into biochemistry, the accredited professional programs, yeah, they need a little bit more of a tight schedule.
and sometimes, and when you get into those upper courses, they're only offered in certain semesters,
Mhm.
which is why you got to make a choice pretty early, because some of the courses only in the fall and some only in the spring. And if by a certain semester you haven't made a decision, you're going to end up just taking anything to wait for the semester where your course is offered.
Right. So if I'm undecided, I'm still given an advisor, and does that advisor follow me through my collegiate career until I get into a major, or do I just kind of do this on my own?
I think you can continue to see the same advisor. We don't have a problem with that. Once you're in that major, faculty in the area would really like to sit down with you. But we have professional advisors in FYE and in the University Advising Center,
Yes.
and they can all help.
Absolutely. And so if by the time a student finishes the first year and they really haven't gotten it, they're not dropped. They're just moved right over to the University Academic Advising Center and picked right up.
One thing that I loved about being a student at Coppin is the relationships that I built with my professors. I still talk about Dr. Cataliotti to this day. He's like one of my and Dr. Helen, one of my favorite professors, my speech professor. Awesome. I love them to this day. I appreciate everything they did. Do you build those kinds of nurturing relationships with your students?
I probably get more of an opportunity to do that since there's a little something that's kind of intimate about writing class. You've got to put a little bit of your heart into anything that you write, really. And I am the kind of instructor who likes to give back a bit of heart in feedback. I always make it a point. Even if you only took 20 minutes and you wrote your draft on a napkin outside my office on the way in, and you stayed up all night the night before, I will, no matter what, say something nice about it. So with that kind of dynamic, I think that especially in my area, we kind of tend to get to know students well, just because of the nature of the classes. But yeah, I'm I don't know. That's the reason I got into this. Like I said,
Yes.
I was the kid who, after class, was waiting for a professor to come up so I could carry the conversation on outside the classroom. And I am eager for those things to happen on the other side of the door
Hmm.
now.
Absolutely. I would agree, Dr. Forrest.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I would agree with Dr. Forrest. I think the proof that we do make those meaningful connections is, and I don't really like it, but when upper class students get advised from their faculty, and then they come back, Miss Green, can you look at this? Can you can you can
Like,
you make sure this is right? I was like, you gotta go, hold up, wait a minute, you know, and it is it's amusing sometimes that they trust you enough that after they have gone through your program to still come back, and like, can you look at this? Can you check this to make sure that this is right? And I humor them and like, okay, let me look at it. Yeah, it looks good. you know. So I think that says a lot about the things that Dr. Forrest area and I do. That, when they would come back, I'm sure Dr. Forrest, even the seniors or the graduate students still see you, you know, like, can you look at this? Can you make sure? Yeah. So I think that speaks volume with the things with what we do.
I make it a point, because you kind of have to keep the spheres of your life separate in some ways, and so I don't let I don't follow any students or let them follow me on social media until they graduate.
Right.
It's a pleasure to added to the followers once they're done.
Right,
And
right,
the
right.
wedding invitations and the baby announcements and the
Yeah.
parties.
Yes.
I
They're
know
great.
students who have talked about both of you. So
Talk
yeah,
about back before COVID. I used to let everybody see what a short old white professor can do on the basketball court over at the PEC too.
Wow. Pre-COVID. See, I'm telling you, pre-COVID. It's
yeah, it does nothing for the family atmosphere that we have at Coppin at
right,
all.
right,
Perfect.
right,
I tell students all the time, we're never going to say that we're perfect, but we definitely
right.
strive to be the best university that we can be and to be that nurturing family environment that many students need. Because a lot of students don't realize that they need it until they're actually in their first year and they're not as
Yep,
grown up as they think that they
yep.
are. So it's very important that we provide the atmosphere
And
for
the
them.
and the parents love us.
Hmm.
The parents, when they send it,
Parents to actually enroll.
yes. And when you see an email that said, Miss Green, I know you're not in a certain area, but you're the only one that responds. So can you? And I'm like, hold up, they'll respond, but it's busy,
Right.
And it when the parents, because I mean, parents influence the children.
Mhm.
You know, parents influence the students. So I'm excited when parents, appreciate and like us.
Right. Definitely. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. Do you guys have any little last words or tidbits of advice that you would like to share with undecided majors or any student that is considering Coppin?
Okay, so I'll go. If what I would like, if this video is going to be seen by our current students, I definitely want you to reach out to us to make sure that you are registered for spring 2021. And how you do that is you go to www.tinyurl.com/CoppinFYE. It doesn't matter your classification, just make an appointment. We will deal with the logistics later. That's it. 'Cause we need you registered.
And what
And
about incoming students?
for our incoming students, we are excited that you might be considering Coppin State University, and the absolute same interaction you will get if you were face to face, you will definitely get it via our virtual atmosphere.
And Dr. Forrest, any last words for any prospective students?
Hey, this is my 10th year at Coppin, and I feel like it's an honor to be at a school that carries on the legacy of Fannie Jackson Coppin. I would say, hey, if you've got a few minutes, um, go to Wikipedia if that's what you want to do. Read up about Fannie Jackson Coppin. She is as impressive an individual
Yes, it
as
is.
this problematic country has ever produced. And I'm pleased and honored every day to be able to serve at an institution that's named for her. I think we do good work. We produce good students.
Hmm.
We want you to come here and be prepared to put in the work that it takes. Again, I think the last 4 years have shown us that this place, this country has its issues, and we need young people. We saw it a few weeks ago. We need young people to be the difference. And it starts here. It starts coming in. Even if you don't know what you want to do, you want to do
Right.
something, and we'll show you how to do something, and you can decide exactly what that something is going to look like
Right.
in a year and a half.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think that so many students that I talk to on a daily basis after their first year, they're like, I might not have considered Coppin as my first choice before, but now I'm so glad that I chose Coppin because this is where I needed to be. And so we just hope that you guys will consider Coppin as well. And if you go
Yes.
to the landing page, you can always click the apply now button to apply. And you can also click the book an appointment button to schedule an appointment with an admissions counselor, myself, Marcus Edwards, or Mrs. Deborah Childs. But I thank you guys so much. I think that
Thank
this
you.
information was very helpful to the students. And if they want to reach out to you guys, how can they contact you?
Anyone, all I do now is sit in front of my laptop anyway, so feel free to send me an email. Any questions, I'm happy to chat about it. It's sforest with 2 R's at coppin.edu. Or you could ring my office line. It rings on my cell phone and on my laptop, 410-951-6183.
And once again, to get an appointment with Miss Green, you will go to www.tinyurl.com/CoppinFYE.
And you also have an Instagram page.
Oh, I do, but I don't remember the name of it.
It's
What is it?
Coppin State
Oh,
First.
that one. Oh, yes. Oh, that one. Okay. So, yes, I have an Instagram. And please, please follow us. We do check ins on Instagram, and it is Coppin First Year Experience, all spelled out. So it's Coppin First Year Experience. And you know it's us because they're a picture of the plug, because FYE is the plug of Coppin State University.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for presenting today and sharing this wonderful information with our students.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be
Bye.
safe and be well.